If you feel productive but not effective, busy but not clear, accomplished but strangely depleted, you're not losing motivation, you're experiencing decision fatigue. And the most dangerous part, most high performing leaders don't even realize it's happening. Welcome back. I'm Sherrie, your host and executive longevity strategist. Last week, we talked about decision quality as the most undervalued leadership risk. Today, we're going one layer deeper because decision quality doesn't usually collapse all at once. It erodes through something far more subtle, decision fatigue. Decision fatigue isn't weakness, it isn't poor time management, and it isn't a mindset issue. It's what happens when the brain is asked to choose, assess, respond, and regulate without adequate recovery. And for high achieving women, especially, decision fatigue becomes invisible because competence masks cost. If you follow me, I start my episodes intertwining case studies and personal experiences. Then I give you strategies you can implement immediately. Let's begin. Case study number 1 is the leader who could do everything except decide. She was capable, reliable, and organized. But she told me, I just don't want to make one more decision. Her calendar was full, her output was high, but her clarity was gone. She wasn't overwhelmed by work. She was overwhelmed by choice density. I remember realizing that the hardest decisions weren't the big ones. They were the small, constant ones. What to eat, what to respond to, what to prioritize. Decision fatigue doesn't announce itself. It shows up as avoidance. Case study number 2. This founder was trapped in indecision. This founder, she didn't lack vision. She lacked bandwidth. She kept revisiting decisions she had already made. That's a classic sign of cognitive depletion. Her brain was conserving energy by delaying commitment. For me, decision fatigue showed up as emotional numbness. When your brain is tired, it stops offering nuance. Everything feels heavy or flat. Case study number 3, the corporate leader who lost her edge. She said, I used to be decisive. Now I hesitate on everything. Her confidence hadn't disappeared. Her nervous system was overloaded. Leadership doesn't fail when you can't work. It fails when you can't choose. Once I understood decision fatigue as a biological response, not a character flaw, everything changed for me. The solution wasn't discipline, it was relief. Case study number 4 is the woman who thought she needed a break. She kept planning vacations, but nothing improved. Because rest without recovery doesn't reduce decision fatigue. I learned that clarity returns when you stop forcing the brain to perform under constant demand. Decision quality improves when choice load decreases. 5 strategies to reduce decision fatigue and protect decision quality. Strategy number 1, eliminate low-value choices. Automate meals, routines, and schedules where possible. Create 2 to 3 fixed meal templates, for examples, work day, off day, and travel, with predefined macros and timing. When I travel, I usually go for easy meal replacements like protein shakes, protein coffee, and low-carb snacks like boiled eggs, pickles, and cheese sticks. Batch grocery orders on auto-replenish weekly or bi-weekly using the same SKU list. Use a rotation rule, the same breakfast and lunch Monday through Friday. Option variation only at dinner. Some automation tools would be to grocery auto delivery, calendar linked meal reminders, meal prep services for high demand weeks. Nutrition becomes infrastructure, not a daily negotiation. Blood sugar is stabilized and mental energy is preserved for decision making. Anchor routines to non-negotiable events. Make routines automatic by attaching them to events that already happen. Tie routines to fixed anchors rather than clock time. For example, when you wake up in the morning, hydrate and stretch. Before work, protein intake and sunlight, unless You're an intermittent fasting girly like me, then protein first with your first meal. After work, decompress. And then remember, your sleep wind down begins 60 to 90 minutes before sleep time. Create checklists, not goals. If the anchor happens, the routine follows. Some helpful automation tools are habit stacking apps, one tap checklists, smart home cues like ambient lighting that automatically, the light decreases at night, bright lighting when you wake up, alarms to alert when it's time to begin certain anchors, sound, meditation music. I like listening to jazz in the shower and sound bowls before bed. Routines execute without motivation. Compliance improves because routine rides on something unavoidable. Pre-decide the week with a fixed operating rhythm. Remove micro-planning and preserve decision quality. This is something that I implement. I establish a weekly default schedule by having a fixed workout window. I have a designated content batching blocks, and I protect my recovery windows. Lock in your schedule in advance and adjust only for exceptions. Because my schedule is very busy, so implementing these strategies protects my capacity and cognitive bandwidth. Some automation tools that I use and recommend are calendar templates, implement recurring task automation, color-coded priority blocks. These tools help the week run on rails with fewer daily decisions, fewer trade-offs, and more consistent execution. Strategy number 2, front load important decisions. Make critical decisions earlier in your cognitive day. Decide once, then schedule the follow-through automatically. Remember, a decision without scheduled execution is still a pending cognitive load. The moment a decision is made, immediately assign it a system, a time, or a person. Bundle the decision with its first action. Decide the calendar block. Put it on your calendar immediately. Decide, delegate all high stakes and irreversible action tasks. Decide how to automate. Treat unscheduled decisions as unfinished work, not intentions. Outcome decisions close cleanly. Mental bandwidth is released instead of being taxed by open loops. Front-loading decisions is not about speed. It's about protecting decision quality under pressure. Leaders who decide early operate with more calm, fewer errors, and greater strategic leverage. Strategy number 3, reduce input noise. Too much information degrades judgment. Information sources before they reach you. Noise should be filtered upstream, not managed downstream. Here are some ways to execute. Limit yourself to 1 to 2 primary sources per domain: news, industry, and financial. Eliminate passive intake, scrolling, algorithm-driven feeds. Replace it with scheduled, intentional review. Unsubscribe aggressively. If a source does not inform decisions you will actually make, it is noise. Reduce cognitive interference before it ever enters working memory. Batch inputs into designated intake windows. Constant input destroys deep thinking, even if the content is valuable. Create fixed intake windows. For example, twice daily, check your email, your messages, and the news. Keep all notifications off outside those windows. Treat information like food. Continuous snacking degrades performance. Structured intake sustains it. Your nervous system remains in a stable, focused state rather than perpetual reactivity. Separate information consumption from decision making. Input and judgment should not happen simultaneously. Capture inputs into a holding system like your Notes app, your inbox, or task manager without acting on them. Schedule a decision review block where you evaluate inputs in bulk. Ask yourself one question only: does this require a decision, delegation, or deletion? This prevents emotional or fatigued reactions and preserves strategic clarity. Here's some leadership insight. Reducing input noise is not about disengagement. It is about intentional exposure. Leaders who control inputs control their internal state and therefore their outcomes. Strategy number 4, build recovery between decisions. Micro recovery restores clarity faster than breaks. Insert micro recovery after high stakes decisions. Decision making consumes glucose, attention, and emotional regulation capacity. Treat every high impact decision as a load event, followed by a brief recovery interval. Use a 2 to 5 minute reset immediately after the decision. Stand and walk, box breathe or extend exhale breathing, or hydrate and light movement. Do not stack another decision until the reset is complete. You prevent cumulative decision fatigue and preserve consistency in judgment quality. Another strategy is to alternate decision density across the day. Back-to-back decisions compound cognitive depletion. Some execution strategies are scheduling your day in decision blocks, not task lists. Follow high decision blocks with low decision or automatic work, email batching, templated outputs, administrative execution. Reserve creative or relational work for periods after recovery, not during depletion. Your nervous system oscillates between demand and restoration rather than remaining chronically taxed. Use physiological signals as decision stop signs. The body detects decision overload before the mind admits it. Some execution strategies are the predefined stop signals: irritability, tunnel vision, impulsivity, or urgency without clarity. When a signal appears, pause decisions and shift to recovery behaviors: eat or hydrate, step outside or change posture. Delay non-urgent choices to the next clarity window. Institutionalize a rule: no irreversible decisions when depleted. You avoid errors made under fatigue and protect long-term decision integrity. The executive insight is recovery between decisions is not a luxury. It is infrastructure for sustained leadership performance. Leaders who build recovery into their decision cadence outperform those who simply push harder. Strategy number 5, your weekly decision audit. Ask, what decisions am I making that don't require me? Review decisions by impact, not by time. Identify where decision quality matters most. This is the process. List the week's material decisions: financial, staffing, scheduling, boundaries, and health. Categorize each as high impact, which are irreversible, moderate impact, which can be adjusted, and low impact, repeatable. Ask one question per decision. If this were repeated for 12 months, would it compound or erode results? This will enable you to focus review energy on leverage points rather than volume. Another strategy is to identify decision friction and fatigue triggers. This is necessary to reduce future errors by fixing the system, not yourself. For each high impact decision, note time of day it was made: morning, afternoon, or evening. What state were you in? Were you rested, rushed, depleted, or reactive? What inputs were present, if any? Noise, pressure, or incomplete data. Flag patterns where fatigue or urgency degraded clarity. Once you do this, you begin to redesign timing, inputs, and recovery, preventing the same degradation next week. Now it's time to convert lessons into forward rules. This ensures the audit changes behavior, not just awareness. Extract 1 to 3 rules from the review, such as no financial decisions after 6 p.m. All staffing decisions require 24-hour distance. If recovery was skipped, defer decisions. Document rules and apply them in the coming week's schedule. Each audit tightens your operating system, reducing future decision load and risk. This is the leadership framework. A weekly decision audit is not self-criticism. It is risk management. Over time, it compounds into calmer leadership, fewer errors, and higher capacity. If this episode resonated, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not indecisive. You are overloaded. This is exactly why I created the Strategic Longevity Collective, a membership designed to help high-performing women protect capacity, clarity, and leadership longevity. Inside the Strategic Longevity Collective, you'll receive education on decision quality, recovery, and longevity, monthly live group conversations, on-demand videos, downloadable PDFs, tools, and frameworks, and a community of women who understand leadership pressure. The wait list is now open, and the link is below. And while you wait, join my free Facebook group, Wellness Warriors Quality Longevity Lifestyle Tribe. Leadership doesn't collapse from effort. It collapses from unrelieved cognitive demand. I'll see you next week.